Good morning, everybody. It's Amy Bennett with the AM Show. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you have had a good start to your week. All three of my kids had good days at school. Here comes Tucker. Yesterday, they had all good days at school. Yesterday, Emma was able to drive to school, and she drove home from school, and it was a pretty bad rainstorm when she was driving home, and there was a lot of traffic there and back, so I feel like that was a really big win for her. Just in case you're keeping track of her, I feel like this is like Emma's driving vlog. But it was a good day. Oh, just got a message. Okay, well, today is so exciting. I have been waiting for this day for a while now. It is the day that Feathers Season 9 is premiering. So it is out now. I'm getting notifications. It is out now. So Feathers Season 9 Episode 1 with Jessica Honegger. She is the founder, co-CEO of Noonday Collection. I'm actually wearing some of their jewelry. They are a fair trade accessory company, the #1 in the world. And this is one of my favorite pieces that they have. It's a necklace. It's just gorgeous. So they employ artisans all over the world, and then they have ambassadors here in the United States who then host what they call trunk shows in their home, and I'm sorry, I'm getting notifications. Thank you. I just saw Nancy. Good morning, Darian and Nancy says you look so pretty. Well, thank you very much. So they host trunk shows in their home, and of course then that provides income for the ambassador and also provides income for the artisans all over the world. And I love fair trade. I love this whole setup, and if you want to hear Jessica talk about what it's like to start that kind of company, really step out in faith, the kind of courage that it took, the way that God provided is just incredible for those folks, and the way that actually the Lord spoke to her about being a working mom. So if you happen to be a working mom, please pick up her book. She has a book, Imperfect Courage, that was out last Tuesday that I talked to her about, and she speaks to it on the podcast today. How much, like when I read the book, how much it meant to me as a working mom. And I think it's just gonna release you from some guilt and shame if you are a working mom. It surprised me that her book was addressed that, and I think it kind of took me off guard, but it really spoke to me. So if you are a working mom, that would be a great resource for you. So go listen to the podcast, and please, if you have not done it, go to iTunes, look up Feathers, Faith, and Flight, and leave a review. So if you've ever listened to even one episode of Feathers and enjoyed it at all, or if you just kind of like me a little bit and want to support me, would you please go leave a review, a rating and review on iTunes? That would help so much. All right, so I want to talk, and so part of what I want to talk about today is really tied into the podcast, so that's kind of why I'm talking about it this morning. So here's the thing. When I was reading through Acts for my daily reading, I was reading in Acts 17, and did you know that there was a Jason in Scripture? I did not know that. I did not know there was a Jason in Scripture. I grew up in a generation where there were a lot of Jasons in your class. Amy was a very popular name growing up. So there was sometimes like four people in my class that were named Amy. Jason was another one of those, another very popular name. And I had no idea it was a biblical name. Like, it just blows my mind. And the other thing is, like, I've read the Bible. Like, have I totally just skipped over this name over and over? And the reason that it's not just about the name, it's about the part that Jason played in God's big story. And so let me set the stage. Paul and Silas, this is in Acts. So Paul and Silas are out spreading the gospel. And they have just, this is the part where Paul and Silas have been miraculously released from jail, okay? And then it says they go to Thessalonica, and then it talks about while they are there, they begin to persuade the people that are there. And just another like really fun thing, it says they were persuaded and joined Paul and Silas, as did a large number of God-fearing Greeks and not a few prominent women. Not a few prominent women. I guess that means a lot of prominent women joined them, which as a woman I find that incredibly encouraging, and I love when scripture honors women, and women, we are made in God's image too, and Jesus honors us. So anyway, I'm always encouraged when he speaks to women. Anyway, so it says then, this is 17:5, they rushed to Jason's house. I mean, who knew there was a Jason? They rushed to Jason's house in search of Paul and Silas in order to bring them out to the crowd. But when they did not find them, they dragged Jason and some other brothers before the city officials, shouting, "These men who have caused trouble all over the world have now come here, and Jason has welcomed them into his house. They are all defying Caesar's decree, saying that there is another king, one called Jesus." And when they heard this, the crowd and the city officials were thrown into turmoil, and then they made Jason and the others post bond and let them go. Okay? Who knew there was a Jason? And the part that Jason plays, what we know of Thessalonica is a very wealthy city. So Jason has probably has a really nice house and has welcomed Paul and Silas to their house, and they pay the price for it. And it says at the end, it says they post bond and let them go, which means they paid money so they didn't have to go to jail. Okay, so the thing that Jason did was, one, gave Paul and Silas a place to stay, and they actually, one, risked their life to be able to do that. They were nearly killed, and they paid the price. So nobody went to jail. And so this is what, and by the way, this is like blowing my mind this morning. So if you go to the end of Romans that Paul wrote, it says, this is when he gives the personal greetings at the end of Romans. It says, he's telling who sends greeting to them. It says, "Timothy, my fellow worker, sends his greetings to you, as do Lucius, Jason, and Sosipater, my relatives." So that indicates, if it's the same Jason, and I think it is because my Bible references both of them, Jason was Paul's relative. Does that blow your mind? That blows my mind. Anyway, so here's the thing that I want to say, is that today I have somebody on my podcast who is in charge of the world's largest fair trade accessory company. And that seems big, and I think some of us can look at that and go, like, that's not me. Like, you know, I'm not planning to start any sort of fair trade company. I don't know how I can relate to her. And here's the thing, is that I know about Jessica is that she just took small steps, and it happened to lead to this. And then I think about Jason, who wasn't leading any sort of company. He wasn't on the front lines like Paul and Silas were, but you know what he did? He welcomed people into his home, and he risked his life, and he financially paid the price for the gospel to continue on. And I think that I can be encouraged both from Jessica, who's doing big things, and God is leading her in that, but also from Jason. So Jessica and Jason. And Jason, hospitality, you know, and financially supporting those that are spreading the gospel. And so Jason has a huge, he made it into scripture. Jason has a huge role in the spreading of the gospel in the early church. And so for some of us, you know, I don't lead a big company. I'm not on the front lines preaching, you know, traveling. I'm not a traveling missionary or speaker or anything like that. And so I'm encouraged, not just by Jessica, who I can see that God led step by step and provided, and it's amazing, but also I'm so encouraged by Jason, who played just a part in his hometown, welcoming his relative, apparently, Paul, into his home, providing for them, standing up for them, and then financially putting himself out there for them so that they could continue their work. He had to have great faith to be able to do that. He had to believe in Jesus and to believe that it was the truth in order to risk his neck, basically, for that. And so I'm just encouraged by the Jasons, both the Jessicas and the Jasons, that maybe you don't have a huge part, but maybe just in your hometown, by being hospitable and financially supportive of other people, that you are also playing a huge role in the spreading of the gospel. And so let's be encouraged by both, by our Jessicas in the world and our Jasons in the world, that we all have a part to play. We all have a part to play, and it might even be a mix of all of those. You know, I'm sure Jessica has, I know Jessica has been hospitable to people, because that's the whole basis of Noonday, is that you have people you host people in your home, to host these trunk shows. So maybe for you, being hospitable means having a trunk show at your house, a Noonday trunk show, and then it's like a mix of being a Jessica and a Jason, right? So anyway, I was just encouraged by both of those, and I think in any case, it's all about just following the Lord and what he puts in front of you, and being faithful to that, and having what she calls imperfect courage. Having imperfect courage to do whatever God is calling you to do. So I hope you are encouraged by that today. The other thing I wanted to remind you of is that Feather Season 9 is sponsored by Dayspring, which was really exciting, because we had to go get, part of the thing we had to do last night was to go get more supplies, right? Walmart was insane. And I was walking by the card aisle to scoot across, trying to get to another supply aisle, and I passed it, and there was Dayspring there on one of the on the card aisle, and I was like, Emma, like, they're the sponsor of my podcast this season, which is so crazy to me. So that's exciting, and something new that you'll hear more about in the podcast is Dayspring and some of the projects that they have going on this fall, which is exciting. So anyway, I gotta get going. But I wanted to say good morning to Darian and Nancy, Marie, Tanisha. Yes, Marie, the first day of school was great for the kids. Good morning, Tanisha. Hi, Harold. Marie says, yay for Feathers being back. Yay! I'm so excited. And she just got Jessica's book. So yes, go pick up her book. Good morning, Jamie. All right, guys, thanks for being live. And as you can tell, since school started, I am doing this a little bit earlier than I had been. I was doing it like, 7:30 to 7:45, but I think I'm gonna need to do it like 7 to 7:15 to try to get it all in. So hopefully that'll work out for us. And if you're not able to, I know this is so super early for our friends that are on the West Coast. So if you're not able to make it live, thanks for watching it later on a replay. You can always replay it on our Facebook page, and now we have a YouTube page, so go subscribe over on YouTube. It's you just look up Abiding Ministries and you'll find it, and we have a whole playlist of all the mornings, so you can go back and watch there if you don't want to scroll through the Facebook page. All right, okay guys, I'm gonna go get my day going. You guys have a wonderful Tuesday, and we'll see you back tomorrow. Bye.